Hey, what's up, y'all? Back at it once again. It's Iskosi of Funday kicking in for you and for yours. And this one is part of, you know what I'm saying, we're going to look at, before I get into that, I got to give a shout out to my ancestors for giving me the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And also I got to give a shout out to y'all for watching. Alright, this one right here is Bill Clinton's 1994 crime bill destroyed black communities. It wasn't really Bill Clinton's crime bill. It was, you know, as we know now, it was Joe Biden's crime bill, the guy who was running for president. But Clinton signed it in office. In the past, former President Bill Clinton was known throughout the black community as the first black president. When the idea of having a black president was far-fetched, Clinton's relationship with the black community was strong during the 1992 and 1996 presidential campaign. Clinton gained the black community support, particularly Southern African Americans, and what is being that he was from Arkansas helped him a great deal. This is evident according to the New York Times editorial board, reflecting on the fact that Clinton won 75% of the black vote on Super Tuesday in 1992. However, due to the crime bill he passed in 1994, he is now known as one of the scapegoats who caused mass incarceration of black people, especially black men. The law at issue was the Violent Crime Control and Law Enforcement Act of 1994, which led to the rising incarceration rates of black men. The law also implemented a three-strike policy. According to ncjr.gov, the three-strike statute provided for a mandatory life imprisonment if convicted felons have been convicted in a federal court of a serious felony. 2. Has two or more previous convictions in federal or state courts, and at least one of which is a serious violent felony. The other offenses may be serious drug offenses. The purpose of the three-strike policy was dramatically increase the punishment of those convicted of more than two serious crimes. This law contained a long-standing practice in America to incarcerate black men. The war on drugs and Bill Clinton crime bill is one of the leading causes of what is known as the prison industrial complex, in which the United States has privatized the penal system, generating huge profits for large corporations, basically a la slavery, who then utilize their clout and resources to influence politicians about their laws and the bills they should pass. Some of these decisions concerning the crime directly affect the black community disproportionately than any other group. It is an understatement to say that the black family was greatly impacted by mass incarceration and the war on drugs. According to data, a child whose parent is in prison is at a disadvantage compared to a child who has both parents in their lives. The effect on the black family runs deep, even back to slavery when the father was often separated from his wife and kids. Mass incarceration was just another example of the United States targeting black people and their communities. Regardless of the propaganda that mainstream media outlets put out there, painting the narrative that black people are naturally criminals and dangerous is simply not true. We cannot ignore the numbers of people in the United States, abnormally high, mainly because many years of incarcerating black men for nonviolent drug offensive. Families and the effect of mass incarcerations. Media credit name. The black-white gap in increased incarcerations rates. Pew Resource Center, 2016. As you see right here, they got the graph, where substantially, black males go to jail, especially between the age of 20 and 29. Then it kind of tapers off at between age 30 and 34, and then it goes lower and lower and lower. According to Pew Research, 2.7 million American children have at least one parent incarcerated. The data also show that 11.4% of black children have a parent incarcerated to the 1.8% of white children who have at least one parent in prison. The data states that nonviolent offenses compared to 2/3 of the conviction reflect these incarceration rates, with 1/4 of them coming from drug offenses. So there you have it. As you know before, though, Joe Biden claims responsibility for the crime bill, and we got him on tape saying that, That he claimed full responsibility. When you think of the crime, think of Joe Biden. So this is what he did. He basically, and this to me, just to me, a Iskosi Funde, to me that makes him a racist because it proportionally target the black community. You know, if we all know what racism is, racism takes power. And this law gave the power to run through the black community roughshod. So there's, we really can't let that slide. Especially a person that grew up during that era and watched the police drug shakedowns. You know what I'm saying? Watch them come down and do the things. Tuesdays and Thursdays, you better watch for the sweep. That stuff is real. I seen it go down my damn self. So there's no way that you can, say this is not racist, not escape. They won't call it what it is because racism have power, and fascists. And fascists too. Because they're making money off of this. Capitalism plus racism equal fascism. And this was the Democratic Party in this situation. Joe Biden, Bill Clinton put out there. And some of our people voted for this too. Anywho, this is Iskosi Funny dropping this Black History knowledge. Subscribe to the channel. Show some love. Hit the like button. Say what's up. Peace.
Back to the streets. It doesn't matter whether or not the person that is accosting your son or daughter or my son or daughter, my wife, your husband, my mother, your parents. It doesn't matter whether or not they were deprived as a youth. It doesn't matter or not whether or not they had no background that enabled them to become socialized into the fabric of society. It doesn't matter whether or not they're the victims of society. The end result is they're about to knock my mother on the head with a lead pipe, shoot my sister, beat up my wife, take on my sons. So I don't want to ask, what made them do this? They must be taken off the street. That's number one. There's a consensus on that. Unless we do something about that cadre of young people, tens of thousands of them, born out of wedlock, without parents, without supervision, without any structure, without any conscience developing, because they literally, I yield myself 3 more minutes, because they literally have not been socialized. They literally have not had an opportunity. We should focus on them now. If we don't, they will, or a portion of them will, become the predators 15 years from now. And Madam President, we have predators on our streets that society has, in fact, in part because of its neglect, created. Again, it does not mean because we created them that we somehow forgive them or do not take them out of society to protect my family and yours from them. They are beyond the pale, many of those people. Beyond the pale. And it's a sad commentary on society. We have no choice but to take them out of society. And the truth is, we don't very well know how to rehabilitate them at that point. That's the sad truth. I'm the guy that said, rehabilitation, when it occurs, we don't understand it and notice it. And even when we notice it and we know it occurs, we don't know why. So you cannot make rehabilitation a condition for release. That's why in our system, there's the federal system, you serve 85% of your time. It's a shame, but we don't know how to rehabilitate. But there is a consensus, and I will cease. A, we must make the streets safer. I don't care why someone is a malefactor in society. I don't care why someone is antisocial. I don't care why they become a sociopath. We have an obligation to cordon them off from the rest of society, try to help them, try to change their behavior. That's why we do in this bill, we have drug treatment and we have other treatments to try to deal with it. But they are in jail, away from my mother, your husband, our families. But we would be absolutely stupid as a society if we didn't recognize the condition that nurtured those folks still exist. And we must deal with that.